Hello there, good evening, welcome to ITV News. This is Friday night's calendar with Amelia Beckett and Michael Billington.
Hello, thank you for joining us, and here are tonight's main stories.
A coroner warns that the flooded street where Maureen Gilbert drowned in her own home is just as at risk today. Her family don't expect that to change.
Things will not happen, and especially with it only being 26 houses and possibility of 80, 90 people, the money's just not available for them for that.
Tributes have been paid to the late Duchess of Kent, who for 10 years secretly taught music at a Yorkshire school.
The children didn't really know that there was any connection to royalty, and she literally just was part of the community.
After winning gains right across the Calendar region, we spend the day at the Reform Party conference.
With councillors, mayors and MPs from our part of the world taking centre stage here, Nigel Farage says he's taking them with him to run the country.
And there's a full moon this weekend, a harvest moon and a blood moon. What does that mean? Will we see it? Will the weather play ball? All the detail a little later on.
First tonight, residents remain at risk on a street in Chesterfield where an elderly woman was found drowned in 5 feet of floodwater, a coroner has said.
83-year-old Maureen Gilbert's body was found by her own son in water which had inundated the ground floor of her house on Tapton Terrace in 2023.
There are still no defences in place, despite previous reports recommending flood defences as far back as 2008. Adam Fowler has been following the inquest and is on Tapton Terrace for us now. Adam, such a sad story, this.
It certainly is, and Paul Gilbert described it today as a nightmare. He was the one, of course, who found his mother's body the morning after attempts by the Fire and Rescue Service to rescue her had failed and had been postponed overnight. At Chesterfield Town Hall today, as part of his conclusion, the coroner said that effectively Tapton Terrace was no better protected today than it was in the floods of 2007 or indeed the floods of 2023, and that he was going to contact the relevant authorities to express his concerns. This was the scene on Tapton Terrace after Storm Babette caused the River Rother to burst its banks in October 2023. It claimed the life of 83-year-old Maureen Gilbert, who lived here her whole life. A rescue attempt by Derbyshire Fire and Rescue Service was abandoned on the first night of the flood due to dangerous conditions, and a message to re-inspect the property the next morning wasn't passed on. But the coroner Matthew Cooley said he didn't blame the fire service, who dealt with around 1,600 emergency calls across 2 days amid 2 separate system failures. Maureen's body was found by her son, Paul.
If the fire service had gone in and found my mum, I wouldn't have had to find her, which has been one of my biggest nightmares since that day. I don't think I'm blaming anybody for it, it's just the way society relies on this kind of thing.
The coroner said he would issue a prevention of future deaths report highlighting the ongoing risks to residents of Tapton Terrace to be sent to the Government, Environment Agency and Derbyshire County Council. But Paul says he doesn't believe anything will change.
I don't think there is any confidence still in it, but at least somebody's now got to sit and listen to a verdict that has been brought forward like this. So somebody might have to look at it a little bit more stringent, but all the things that was put in place and requested in 2007, 2008 have been requested again. It's all about money. I understand that, I know that. Things will not happen, and especially with it only being 26 houses and possibility of 80, 90 people, the money's just not available for them for that.
Paul believes unless more money is invested in flood defences, lives will remain at risk.
More money does need to be invested in floods, because this is obviously something that is going to keep happening with climate change and everything else. So we can't judge the weather. One of the driest years on record this year, so we can't figure out what weather's going to happen. But yeah, more money needs to be available and more long-term plans need to be put in. I still believe that dredging rivers and cleaning rivers out, for me, is the most important thing.
Paul Gilbert was praised in court for his restraint and dignity. He just hopes now that measures can be put in place to spare anyone else the loss
he feels so deeply. Adam Fowler, ITV News, Chesterfield.
Next tonight, having already secured major gains across our region, Nigel Farage today declared his Reform Party is ready to govern the country.
All eyes were on Birmingham and their party conference, where former West Yorkshire MP Andrea Jenkins, now the Mayor of Lincolnshire, was one of the stars of the show.
Well, there was big news elsewhere with the resignation of the Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner and one of our MPs swapping roles in the Cabinet. Katie Oscroft has been following a day of big political events from Birmingham.
Well, Michael, it's a big day out here. We've had buses, bars, fireworks, football shirts, but to be fair, it's been a bigger day elsewhere. There's been more significant news, and that resignation of Angela Rayner caused more than a ripple here, but it prompted a cabinet reshuffle back in Westminster. That means that our Yvette Cooper, the MP for Pontefract, Castleford and Nottingley, is no longer the Home Secretary. She's gone to the Foreign Office. So not a great day for Labour, but here, well, they are confident, and that was summed up loud and clear by one of our region's mayors.
Nigel will be Prime Minister!
And if the election was tomorrow, then Dame, now also Mayor Andrea Jenkins, could say the bookies be right. She wore her flag with pride, if not her shoes. About that flag, the language around it and the use of flags is making people who aren't white feel uncomfortable at best in this country.
I disagree. The flag, the British flag, we are a nation of immigrants, but the British taxpayer has had enough of people coming here illegally.
Ashfield MP Lee Anderson also defended what Reform are saying and how they're saying it.
No, I'm not going to watch my language. We've had instances all over the country where these alleged asylum seekers, let's get the right language, they are illegal migrants posing as asylum seekers, and some have gone on to commit awful crimes. I don't want to take any chances. They need detaining and then deporting.
And that tough talking, say Reform, is the reason they're ahead on points and they're the team to run the country by 2029 or sooner. But will those wearing the shirt today be able to stay in front? Yes, says one of the country's Reform-led councils, by standing in the way of green energy.
I despair about solar farms, I really do. The whole of Lincolnshire is grade 1 brilliant farming land, and we should be growing crops. We should be feeding the country, and food security for me is far more important than solar farms.
Meanwhile, amongst the rank and file, Sarah from Bridlington says she had her kids, then Reform attracted her to politics.
I just felt that what they were saying was what I felt.
Former Conservative Minister and I'm a Celebrity contestant Nadine Dorries was Reform's big surprise after she was revealed as their latest recruit. But that was all but upstaged by the news from elsewhere when Labour's Deputy Leader Angela Rayner quit over her tax affairs. Another boost, said Nigel Farage for his party.
We are all ships rising on a turquoise tide, headed ever closer towards winning the next general election.
I'm an insomniac. I'm an insomniac.
Dame Andrea, Mayor Andrea, says everyone will be singing from Reform's hymn sheet by then. Katie Oscroft, ITV News, Birmingham.
Some news in brief now, and a father of 2 has been jailed for 9 years for arson and violent disorder during the riots at an asylum hotel in Rotherham last year. Matthew Crossland pleaded guilty to the charges at an earlier hearing. The sentences relate to the riots at the Holiday Inn Express in Manvers, which saw hundreds of protesters, some of them as young as 13, attack the building which housed 200 asylum seekers. Over 60 police officers were injured and hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of damage was caused.
2 men from West Yorkshire have been arrested on suspicion of terrorism offences. A 33-year-old man was detained at an address in Leeds on suspicion of being concerned in the commission, preparation or instigation of acts of terrorism, while a 31-year-old man from Huddersfield was also arrested on the same charges. Counter-terrorism police also says searches are ongoing at a number of properties in relation to the investigation.
Well, next tonight, tributes have been paid to Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Kent, the Yorkshire-born royal whose death at the age of 92 was announced today.
Catherine Worsley was born in Hovingham in North Yorkshire and was propelled into the public spotlight after her marriage to the Duke of Kent, the late Queen's cousin.
Well, she renounced the HRH title in later life, opting for a low-key approach which allowed her to teach at a whole primary school almost unnoticed. Well, Fraser Maud is in Hovingham. Fraser, a woman who went from a small Yorkshire village to be part of the Royal Institution.
Absolutely, Michael. Yeah, born a commoner, Catherine Worsley was born here in the village of Hovingham, a village which is rightly proud of its royal associations, a picture-perfect location here in the Howardian Hills. Her family home here is Hovingham Hall. It's just behind me. You can see the flag flying at half-mast there. She was born here at Hovingham Hall in 1933. Her father, Sir William Worsley, was Lord Lieutenant. Her maternal grandfather went on to found the company which would later become ICI. So, born a commoner but with something of a privileged upbringing. Hovingham Hall is now the home of her nephew, another Sir William Worsley. He actually was a page boy at her wedding to Prince Edward, the Duke of Kent, which took place at York Minster in 1961. It was the first royal marriage to take place in the Minster for more than 600 years, the last one being the marriage between Edward III and Philippa of Hainault.
And Fraser, as a royal, she performed many duties in our region, and one which sticks in all our minds here is the opening of Yorkshire Television in 1968.
Yeah, that's right, Amelia. The Duchess of Kent brought Yorkshire Television on air on July the 29th back in 1968. This is how she did it.
It gives me great pleasure to initiate this first broadcast from Yorkshire Television's new studios in Leeds.
Of course, it was a right royal occasion for everyone involved on that day back in 1969, and the company would retain the name of Yorkshire Television for nearly 40 years. The Duchess even sent Calendar a letter earlier this year to mark ITV's 70th birthday, and in that letter she spoke of the meaningful collection she felt being made in Yorkshire. But it was her so-called secret life as a teacher, revealed in 2004, which pointed towards her love of music. She spent more than a decade working quietly as a music teacher at Wansbeck School in Hull, where pupils, staff and parents knew her not as the Duchess, but simply as Kath or Mrs. Kent.
One member of staff said to me today she was just simply Mrs. Kent. She would come into school every week, she would go in the staff room, she would make herself a cuppa, she was just part of the staff team on that day when she came into school and taught. The children didn't really know that there was any connection to royalty, and she literally just was part of the community.
Well, that's really extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, it seems like she was a real enigmatic character, Fraser. In fact, she did very few interviews in her time, didn't she? But she did speak to ITV back in 2011 about her love of music.
Yeah, that's right, Michael. She didn't speak very much to the press. She acted through her deeds. We know her best, perhaps, for handing out the trophies at Wimbledon, of course. But in a rare interview, she did speak to Alan Titchmarsh and spoke about her love of music and spoke about her time in Hull.
I suppose for the last 13 years I've been teaching in Hull, in the primary school in Hull. I finished that, it was 7 years ago now actually, but my connection with there will always be there. I love those children, I love being there, I love East Hull. I wouldn't have stayed there for 13 years if I hadn't.
Well, of course, she'll be greatly missed in Hull. She'll be greatly missed here in Hovingham. Tributes have also been coming in from the Prince and Princess of Wales, from the Archbishop of York and from the Prime Minister as well. Tributes that are coming in at a time when Buckingham Palace's flag, as is the flag here in Hovingham, flying at half-mast for a much-loved, greatly missed member of the royal family.
That's the Duchess of Kent, who's died at the age of 92. Fraser Maud in Hovingham. Thank you very much indeed.
You're watching Friday's calendar with Michael Billington and Amelia Beckett, still to come before 6:30. In sport, we look ahead to this weekend's big Yorkshire derby as the Bantams visit Donny Rovers with both teams on top four.
And some lovely sunrise and sunsets across the region this week. Weather photos at ITV.com. But it's all about the moon as we head through the weekend. All the detail, your photos and of course the forecast coming up soon.
Next, to the open water swimmer who says he owes his life to the efforts of Yorkshire Air Ambulance after his heart stopped beating while swimming in a lake near Rotherham. Yes,
Nick Parks was airlifted to hospital from the park near Rotherham after falling ill during a race just over 2 years ago.
Now, he's praised the Air Ambulance charity, which relies on donations to stay in operation. Here's Chloe Oliver.
Nick Parks was swimming in an open water championships at Rother Valley Country Park near Sheffield when his heart stopped and he began to drown. Yorkshire Air Ambulance crews put him into a coma and he credits them with saving his life.
Had the Air Ambulance not been as quick, as fantastically medically trained, professional in every degree, and I mean that, I wouldn't be stood here. We were talking seconds to me not being able to come out of that situation.
Hello, Rachel.
Air ambulances respond to 50,000 calls a year. That's an average of 134 life-saving missions every day. But with rising fuel and equipment costs, the charities say public donations are needed more than ever.
We need to keep fundraising, but we also need to raise awareness, and we really need to, hope people that can understand that we are a charity. We're all charities, all 21 air ambulances are charities, and we rely on public support. And the interventions that we perform are really complex and life-saving. And that's what the fundraising that the communities do is actually delivering. And, every penny that we raise goes towards saving a patient's life.
Air ambulances like these are more than just transport. They bring the hospital to patients with vital equipment for blood transfusions, general anaesthetic and surgeries. It's not just emergencies either. Paramedics here have already trained more than 100,000 people in CPR, sharing skills that can be the difference between life and death.
What you want to do is put the heel of your hand there, other hand over that. Keep your back straight, elbows slightly bent, and what you are trying to do is push the heart down to pump the blood around the body and then relax it to let the blood back in so that it can then pump out again. So right in the middle, so palm in the middle palm there. Flat. Yep, palm flat, other hand, and using your back as well as your arms to go in and out. We know that cardiac arrests happen in people's homes, behind closed doors, not in public places. So the first help that they will receive is from you as their family and their friends.
They work as a team. They know the inside out. So whenever you see it arrive in either a car accident on the motorway, it's serious. And they hopefully will save people's lives. They saved my life.
As Nick knows all too well, in life or death situations, every second counts. Air ambulances can reach patients in as little as 15 minutes, flying at speeds of up to 185 miles per hour. And with continued public support, they can keep saving even more lives. Chloe Oliver, ITV News.
Oh, amazing what they do. Right, it's Friday, nearly at the weekend. Arif is keeping us company here in the studio. Evening. What have you got for us?
Well, Michael, it is the international break, but don't worry, there's still plenty of sport to go at, including a tasty Yorkshire derby to whet the appetite.
Powering local sport in the community. Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
There's no Premier League or Championship football this weekend, but there is a Yorkshire derby between Doncaster Rovers and Bradford City in League One. Both have had a similar rise recently, both winning promotion into League One and have had a strong start to this season. So all has the ingredients for a pretty tasty derby. It was a summer of celebration for Doncaster Rovers. These jubilant scenes were sparked after beating Bradford and securing promotion out of League Two. But when these two teams meet again tomorrow in League One, manager Grant McCann expects a different challenge.
Special day for everybody, but a completely different new season, different team, different personnel in both teams. So although I agree it was an amazing day, it means nothing for getting into tomorrow's game.
Doncaster's steely defence has been the foundation to their success. The Eco Powers become a fortress for Rovers with their last home defeat coming back in February. Fullback James Maxwell is calling for an electric atmosphere from the fans.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll
we'll have really good crowd like we have had since the start of the season. As you say, again, it can play a big part in the game and the intensity of the game for sure.
After 6 long years in the Football League's bottom division, Bradford also secured promotion to the 3rd tier. They've started this campaign like they've never been away. Yet to taste defeat, the Bantams are preparing for the first Yorkshire derby of the season as they come up against a familiar foe.
Seasons have been here, we've had some good times at Doncaster. Obviously last season weren't to be, but we both ended up getting promoted at the end of the day, so that was the main thing there. But I know our fans will come in numbers and help us, so yeah, we're all just really looking forward to the game.
Bradford's front line has been boosted with the return of Andy Cook.
Nerville's ball in, nodded on! Cook's comeback complete!
After 8 months out with a knee injury, he made his comeback in midweek. Scoring 2 goals in 20 minutes, he's put himself in contention for tomorrow's derby.
I think there's moments in your career that you get that are sort of handed down to you for your endeavours. It'll be a game that he'll remember for a long time, and goals he'll remember for a long time because he's been through the mill for a striker, scoring 2 goals and winning the game. It don't come better than that.
With similar success and starts to the season, a new rivalry is building between Bradford and Doncaster. Now, the Leeds Rhinos have gone joint second in the Super League table after thrashing the Huddersfield Giants last night. The Rhinos were made to work hard for their 5th straight win. 3 second-half tries, including this one from Morgan Gannon, secured a 26-0 victory over their West Yorkshire rivals in their own backyard. And finally, from me, Leeds boxer Jake Bateson steps into the Lion's Den this evening in Ireland. The 31-year-old featherweight seen here on the right takes on Irishman Michael Conlon in Dublin for the WBC international title. And York heavyweight Leo Atang will have his 2nd pro fight up in Sunderland tomorrow night. So no Premier League or Championship football, but still a busy weekend of sport coming up.
That'll keep you out of trouble, won't it?
Might not, might, hopefully.
Aaron, thank you.
You're welcome.
You. The ITV Evening News continues at 6:30. Let's take a look at what's happening with Charlene White.
Coming up on the ITV Evening News, Rayner resigns from the government. It comes after Keir Starmer's ethics advisor found that she had breached the ministerial code for underpaying stamp duty. We'll have the latest on what this means for Labour ahead of its party conference. Portuguese police say 3 British nationals are among those killed in the Lisbon funicular crash. And tributes to the Duchess of Kent, the oldest member of the royal family, who's died at the age of 92. Join us for those stories and more from 6:30.
Charlene, we certainly will. Kerry, nice to see you. Good evening.
Friday already.
I know. Where's that week gone?
I know, it was nice today, wasn't it?
It was actually really quite pleasant given how miserable
it was
yesterday.
Almost like forecast.
It's
don't know what
like you.
happened.
Exactly. How do you do it?
But we'll be looking to the skies at night over the next couple of days because we've got a full moon. I don't know if you love, I love the moon, but I absolutely love a full moon. John Victor sent this. It's not actually from last night, but I was driving home last night and you could just see it as it was just rising above the horizon. It just looks absolutely huge if you've got a point of scale like Castle Hill, for example. And a little bit of a close-up, you can see the tiny people there at Castle Hill. It's amazing.
That's a great picture.
It's harvest moon, of course. That's pretty obvious for the time of year, for September. But we've also got something called a blood moon that's happening on Sunday, which coincides with the fullest point of the moon. We've basically got the moon in the Earth's shadow, and that's going to turn it a little bit blood red. Blood moon, blood red. I'd call it a mucky brown, but blood red's probably better. So what's happening then, basically, Sunday evening, for us, it's 7:11, which is really unfortunate because it's below the horizon. So we've got to wait until it's gone past totality. So it won't be a total lunar eclipse. It will be a partial lunar eclipse from about 5 to 8 till 5 to 9. You can see it. And the showers are clearing. We've got showers on Sunday, but they should clear just in time for the deets. So this is from earlier in the year. when we had another partial solar eclipse. A big thank you to Linda Thomas for that, and also to Graham Stanley. So it kind of looked like that, like a muddy brown. It's all to do with the scattering of light and the bending of light. So the reds wavelengths are longer than the blues and the greens, so they just go away, and we can, rather than just seeing it in total blackness, you just see that sort of pinky or the mucky brown.
Can be quite striking though, can't it, when it's a different
Yeah,
colour?
yeah. So you need to get up high because it's just happening at the time that it's rising. So get up on a hill.
Castle Hill's the place to be.
Castle Hill, Sunday evening, and you'll be okay. Yeah. So here's your weather. Here's your forecast for the weekend.
A clear start makes way for a day of ancient discoveries. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Yes, for many of us across the region today, it has been a much better day, drier, calmer, brighter and a little bit warmer. But as we head into the weekend, we are expecting things to feel a little bit more autumnal, especially by the end of the weekend into the start of next week. Fine day tomorrow. There'll be some hazy sunshine around. Temperatures by day and by night certainly well above the average. Showers later on Sunday now rather than rain, and warm but windy conditions. Basically, we're dragging in warmer air from the south as we head through the weekend. So Sunday we could in places get to the mid-20s Celsius, but low pressure is in charge. So expect strong winds and yes, some showers at least for a time for the second half of the weekend. But as we head through into tonight, it becomes mainly dry and clear. There'll be bits and pieces of cloud coming and going, but under the clearer spells, similar to last night, got a little bit more of a breeze, but in shelter temperatures will dip down into single figures and perhaps one or two mist and fog patches as we head towards dawn. There are sun times as we head into the weekend. Saturday sun rising at 6:23, setting again at 7:45. So tomorrow it is a mostly dry day for Saturday. There'll be some high cloud coming and going, turning the sunshine hazy. So bright perhaps rather than sunny across all parts of the region for all of the time. We've got that southerly breeze, so it will be noticeable, but it's coming from that warm direction, and 22-23 is certainly not out of the question. Any rain or showers stay out to the west until later on Sunday. Sunday is blustery. It will be warm, fairly muggy conditions, and then sunshine and showers thereafter into next week.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
There you go. And if you don't want to look at the moon, you could always look at clouds and try and find shapes in them, like Brent Stanton, an alligator eating the sun. How about that?
It's like a sort of shadow puppet thing, isn't it?
Yeah, like a little Pac-Man.
Kerry, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
That's it from us. Thanks for watching this week. Charlene's next. See you later on. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.